today's video is about how to learn languages with story, or how to learn a language with stories. Okay, and if you are new in this channel, kindly consider subscribing so that you will not miss any video coming from this channel, because we are having a lot more videos that are coming, and so that you can know much more on how to learn a language, specifically Swahili, in the natural way. Okay, how to learn Swahili in the natural way. So today we are going to touch the 4 aspects of language. We have listening, speaking, writing, and reading. So we are going to look at how to learn a language with stories. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you a short story in Swahili so that you can know if you are understanding Swahili after learning for a while, after listening to Swahili for a while, if you can understand the story. If you can understand the Swahili story, good for you. If you cannot understand the Swahili story, go back again and listen and look at the words that are written, or the transcript that is written on the video. Try to listen to it again, and after a while you are going to understand. Okay, so what makes stories good for learning a language? What makes stories good for learning a language? The first thing is meaning of the story. So when you are learning a language, the first thing is the meaning of the story. So when you are reading a story, you will like to know, you will like to reveal the meaning of the story. You will like to know what that story means, what that story is talking about. Okay? And when you are doing that, your brain will not be focused on grammar. Your brain will be focused on knowing what the story means, what the story is talking about. And that is very important, because that is one of the ways that will help you not to think in English. Okay? When you learn grammar alone, your brain is going to be thinking in English, then it translates to Swahili. That's why you can see a lot of videos in YouTube where they're telling you how not to think in English, how to stop thinking in English. Because it is very hard. Someone speaks to you in Swahili, then your brain translates it to English, then back to Swahili before you respond. Okay? That is a very long process. But when you are reading a story, it will be very easy for you, since your brain will be focused on the meaning of the story and not the grammar. It will be very easy for you to understand other people speaking. Okay? It will be very easy to understand other people speaking. The next thing is context. Context. A story has context. It is talking about a certain thing that happened in a certain way, about a certain person. And the context most of the time will make you emotional, or will help you connect to the story emotionally. And when you connect to the story emotionally, you will get the vocabulary without cramming. Okay? That is why there are so many videos on YouTube that are teaching you how to understand vocabulary, or how to acquire vocabulary. You cannot acquire vocabulary by having a list. When you have a list, that means you're going to cram. But when you have the vocabulary in a story, you are going to understand the story, because first of all, you are going to read the story to know the meaning of the story. Second of all, you are going to read the story to get the vocabulary that is inside the story. And you are going to understand the vocabulary, or you are going to acquire the vocabulary rather than memorizing the vocabulary, because you will be knowing this story is talking about this thing. This person did this, and this happened. So that way, you are going to get the vocabulary in your long-term memory, instead of memorizing and you keep on forgetting. Okay? Then the emotional part, maybe where the character of the story has done something, and that something maybe hits you, you can remember that thing because of something that happened in your life, or maybe a friend, or maybe just something. That emotional part makes you get the vocabulary and not to forget the vocabulary. Next time you meet with the vocabulary, it will be easy for you to express yourself with it, because you have seen it in a context. Okay? Then the other thing is about motivation. when you are learning a language through grammar, it has happened to me, most of the time you feel like you are not moving, so your motivation goes down. Because of course when you see that you are not moving, you are trying to do something, but you are not moving and neither are you understanding. Because to be honest, grammar is not easy. Grammar is not that easy, especially if it is a new language that you have never heard of it before, or a new language that you are maybe few months year old, or few months old, or 1 year old. Grammar is not easy. So when you have a story and you know this story, you want to know the meaning of the story, what this story is talking about, you will be motivated to read. Because actually a research has been done for languages and stories, and it has shown that since stories are one of the things that have been with us since long ago, our grandfathers or the people who came before us used to learn things, maybe qualities of life, maybe characteristics, maybe morals through stories. So an elder used to say a story to children so that they can learn a moral of the story and they learn values from the story. So when you learn stories, when you read stories, it is the same way. You can learn languages through stories, okay? And it is going to motivate you because you will want to know what the story means. How is this character going to end up? Okay, so if you are having a main character in the story and maybe you are really interested in the story, for example, my story Nyama Choma, roasted meat, which is talking about two main characters. We have Maria and we have Danieli, two people who are from the United States and they want to come to Kenya because at the United States they were learning Swahili. Their parents speak Swahili, so they wanted to come to Kenya and practice the Swahili as they look for Nyama Choma, because they heard that Nyama Choma is one of the main foods in Kenya. They wanted to taste Nyama Choma, and when they came to Kenya, they got lost and something else happened. So when you have such a context, you are going to remember a lot of words instead of cramming. And that way, wanting to know the meaning of the story is going to motivate you to keep on reading, okay? And the other thing is the response. When you read a story, as I have said, you're going to be attached to it emotionally, okay? Because maybe the character is doing something that you are familiar with, or something you have ever had, you have ever heard someone saying about that country, and most of all, you're going to get the culture from that story. For example, one of the cultures that I usually tell my students while they're learning Swahili, I tell them, when you come to Kenya, just be sure of knowing more than one greeting. Don't cram, just take it naturally. So we do it via mazungumzo. When I write mazungumzo or a conversation that we usually do after a lesson, I usually put in that culture, okay? And that culture is about greeting. In Kenya, most of the time, you will find more than one greeting. There will be two or three greetings that you are going to encounter with someone. For example, someone can tell you mambo, then you say poa. Then she says unaendeleaje. So they started with hi, you say hi, then how are you doing? I'm fine. So you see, you are not having one greeting, okay? So you are having mambo and you are having unaendeleaje. So that is one of the cultures that you can find in stories. In my stories, you're going to see that if there is a dialogue, most of my beginner stories have dialogues, because it is very important for you as a beginner to have a dialogue, to see how people respond to each other. So they have dialogues where maybe a sister is talking to a brother, a child is talking to the father, to the mother, to the auntie. So you can see the respect, you can see the culture, okay? And that is another aspect that you can learn in a story. Because when you are learning languages, we are not learning grammar and vocabulary, Okay, we are not learning grammar and vocabulary, because you can have grammar and vocabulary, but you might not have the touch. Okay, the touch of the language. The touch of the language comes with the culture, how you get in touch with the people. You know, there is a kind of way when someone is coming from another country and they are speaking to you, but they are speaking to you as if it's from a book. You are not going to get in touch with them emotionally. But when someone comes and they speak to you as if they have been living here, as if they know what they are saying, you're going to be happy to talk to them. You're going to exchange conversations with them. You're going to tell them about some things that they didn't know. Okay, so we have talked about, in the beginning of the video I told you about the 4 aspects of language. We have reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So in stories you can get all of them. Starting with reading, you can read a story. Of course, you're going to get the skills of reading as you read a story. Then we have listening. You can get a story, and a story that has an audio. Okay? As you read, you listen. And by the way, that is a very effective method. When you read and you listen, you're going to get ×2 of what someone else is doing. Of what someone like someone who is only reading, and you are reading and listening, you are going to get a plus. Okay, so we have reading, we have listening, then we have writing. In a story, especially the stories that I have written, down below the story we have muhtasari, which means a summary of the story. You can write that summary of the story. Then we have questions, you can write the questions. Then we have sifa za wahusika, the characters, the characteristics of the characters in the story. You can write, okay? And when you write, you will be improving your skills in writing, okay? So we said we have speaking, we have listening, we have reading, and we have writing. So about speaking, most of the time when people read my stories, my students, when they read my stories, we talk about the story, so that can improve your speaking skills. Okay, and that is all about this video. So now the story that I'm going to tell you in Swahili is going to be about how to learn a language through stories, but it will be in Swahili. Karibuni. Sasa leo nataka kuambia kuhusu jinsi ya kusoma kutumia hadithi. Hadithi ni kitu muhimu sana katika jamii, kwa sababu hadithi zilianza kitambo, tangu jadi, na wazee wetu. Wazee wetu walikuwa wanatumia hadithi kuelimisha wajukuu wao, kuelimisha watoto wao, kuelimisha jamii nzima. Walikuwa wanatumia hadithi. Sawa sawa. Sasa ukisoma kutumia hadithi, pia wewe unaweza kuelimika. Unaweza kujua tamaduni za hiyo lugha, na ukijua tamaduni utaweza kuongea vizuri na watu wa hiyo nchi ama watu ambao wanaongea hiyo lugha, kwa sababu mtaweza kuelewana, si katika lugha pekee, lakini pia katika kufikiria kwenu, kuhisi. Mtaweza kuelewana, si kwa maneno pekee, bali pia kwa hisia. Sawa sawa, kwa sababu utakuwa unajua tamaduni zao, unajua vitu ambavyo wanafanya, na unaweza jua hivyo vitu vyote kupitia hadithi. Hadithi ni kitu muhimu sana. Unaweza tumia hadithi kusikiliza. Mfano, ukinunua kitabu cha hadithi, hakikisha unanunua nakala yake ya sauti ama audio. Sawa sawa. Ukinunua kitabu cha hadithi, hakikisha unanunua nakala yake ya sauti. Na ukisoma, sikiliza pia nakala yake ya sauti. Itakusaidia. Si ndio? Itakusaidia. Halafu tukienda katika kuandika, unaweza kuandika maneno ambayo yako kwenye hadithi. Sawa sawa? Halafu ukiandika hayo maneno, kwa sababu yanatoka kwenye hadithi, ni maneno sawa, yametoka kwa hiyo hadithi. Andika, halafu unaweza patia mwalimu wako ama rafiki yako Mswahili akurekebishe. Sawa sawa? Halafu kuna pia kuongea au kuzungumza. Ukisoma lugha kutumia hadithi, unaweza zungumza na mtu mwingine kuhusu vitu ambavyo umesoma. Unaweza patana na rafiki yako na umwambie, unajua hiki kitabu cha nyama choma kinaongea kuhusu watu wawili ambao wametoka Marekani, wamekuja Kenya, wamekula nyama choma na wamepotea. Sawa, inaweza kusaidia kuongea au kuzungumza. Na jambo la mwisho ni tumesema kuhusu kusikiliza, kuongea au kuzungumza, kuandika, na mwishowe ni kusikiliza. Kusoma itakusaidia tu. Ukianza kusoma hadithi itakusaidia. Halafu katika vitabu vyangu vya hadithi, hata niseme hii kwa Kiingereza, in my books for stories for learners, Swahili learners, I have steps for learners. I have steps on how I have shown you how you can read a story and acquire vocabulary or acquire certain things effectively. So when you get my book, go through that step method or that approach, or if you don't want to, you can use the method that you think maybe is going to help you. You know, we are different, but that method is very, very helpful. And apart from all that, I have Swahili lessons. I teach Swahili lessons. I teach you grammar. We do a song. We do mazungumzo. After mazungumzo, we can do a story or a hadithi. Of course, when you join my lessons, I give you hadithi for you to be reading as you continue with the lessons, okay? And you can ask me any questions when you are in class, when you're not in class, okay? And if you want more information about my lessons, just comment down below. If you want a PDF for this whole video, just go down to the description box below and download it. If you have understood the story that I have said in Swahili, that is very good. If you have understood anything in that story, that is very good, because I have spoken in the speed of a native speaker. I have not lowered any speed or anything. It's a native speaker. So if you have understood, that is very good. Even if you have understood something small, that is perfect. And if you have not understood, don't worry. Just come back again next time and listen to it. Listen to it again and again, and look the transcripts that are written there. And finally, you are going to get it. And that is it for this video. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Tuonane tena siku nyingine. Kwaheri. By the way, I offer Swahili courses or Swahili lessons if you are interested, okay? So my lesson starts from beginner, upper beginner, lower intermediate, upper intermediate, and the smart Swahili student. Okay, so if you have never done any Swahili, you can start from beginner. And if you want like a fresher course, you can come to the smart or upper intermediate. And when you join my courses, I usually give you the books that I'm doing, because we usually have a book review every Sunday. You read a book and then we review together, so that you can get more information, you can get more vocabulary, and your comprehension is going to increase or enlarge, even though you are learning with someone or someone else is helping you to learn. Okay, if you are interested in learning Swahili with me, you can text me via WhatsApp through this number that is written on the screen here, or the email address that is written, or you can comment down below in this video, and I'm going to get back to you. Asante sana na kuwa na siku njema. Kwaheri.